Did she forget to send us live?
You are live.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again. Welcome back to the Amma Manson Show. And today is Monday. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all viewers, wherever you are watching us from, whichever time zone you are watching us from. Greetings to you once again. It's a lovely Monday. And my name is Wisdom. I will be the anchor or the host for today's panel discussion. So today I have two gentlemen with me in the panel, and we are going to be treating a very interesting topic, something which is um, something which is very very interesting for entrepreneurs, mostly for people who come from developing countries. And this is very very sensitive. This is very very interesting to listen to. If you are watching us, if you are live right now, uh, tag a friend in the comment section, share this video, like, um, indicate, say hi in the comment. Let's know where you are watching us from, because today's topic is going to be interesting and amazing. So I have two gentlemen with me here in the panel, and our major topic today is going to be why startups fail. So everybody knows that Africa itself and other countries from other continents have a lot of entrepreneurs, but Africa having the largest entrepreneurs, if I may say, we have a lot of startups because our ecosystem, our nature, our culture encourages small businesses, here and there. We have a lot of marketplaces, people buying and selling, people trying to do their own businesses without the government supporting them, without family and friends supporting them. You have to rock and roll all by yourself. And you and I can agree that it's a very difficult terrain to navigate, more especially as an entrepreneur without any sort of backup, any sort of funding, any sort of encouragement, to move ahead and continue with what you are doing. So today we are going to create a topic which is in why do what startups fail or why startups fail. So in this panel, I have a gentleman who is by name Kwabena Obendako, and I have also Dr. Cash. So I'll start by introducing who Kwabena Obendako is. So Mr. Kwabena Obendako is an engineer. He's an author of three different books. He's into property development, retail, construction work, uh, and most of it he's married with three kids. So ladies who are out there, please don't jump onto him because this man is taken. So you can also follow him on Facebook by the name of Dako. Also, go on YouTube and check out his channel by the same name, Oben Dako. So this gentleman has had loads of experience in different industries: construction industry, retail, fashion, process engineering, name it. uh, when we are talking about gurus in startups, people who have had the ups and downs of startup, Mr. Pavana Obendako is one of the people that can give you a clear advice or a genuine roadmap to a successful startup, for yourself. And the next person I would like to introduce is Mr. Eric. So he goes by the name Eric Pope, but we can all see his name, what? Dr. Lolly Cash. So Mr. Eric is the founder of Lolly Cash, and he is also the founder of Top Hub, which is like the Netflix of Ghana. So he's also married with a son. So unfortunately, nobody on this panel is lonely. So we are all together in this journey. And yes, so Mr. Kwabena Obendakon, I would like to start with you. Today's topic is a very sensitive one, which talks about why startup fail, right? So somebody might be asking, what is startup? Everybody is using the term today, startup. Anybody who starts a table business, a small business, even from their room, they call it a startup. Is there any definition to what exactly is a startup, or anybody can just use the word startup?
Oh, okay. Good morning, Dr. Lolly Cash. Nice meeting you. Um, and greetings to everybody. Wisdom. I think that startup, I think it's a technical word, the way I understand it. And it has to do more with, IT, technology kind of. Generally, I will not use startup for somebody who's trying to start a business selling cassava or opening a provision shop.
Mhm.
Not in that strict sense, because if your sister starts selling wache, she has no idea what they call startup or what starting business, So
Yeah, but it's still she's starting up, right?
no,
So
no.
it
Uh,
doesn't tolerate.
on
Okay.
a very high level, when I watch, some of these
Mhm.
people and they are talking of startup, they are talking of incubation, those technical
Mhm.
ways, in
Mhm.
the different, even in Ghana, when anybody starts a business and they look for funding from some of these countries, most of them are IT kind of business, like what Lolly Cash is doing, they build some of those. But if I start a construction company, I mean, most people will not say. So maybe a startup, as in you starting a business, yes, but on a higher technical level, I think it has to do more with IT, kind of, not traditional businesses per se. I think you starting a business, it's just you have begun a concept, you are testing a model, and I am of not the IT category. I am of more, construction, property development, retail,
Mhm.
kind of thing. So it's an idea that comes to you that you start a business. So if you want to sell wache, you start selling wache. So for me, startup has to do more with technical, businesses, especially the IT side.
Okay. Dr. Cash, over to you. What is a startup? You are in the IT world, so I guess this relates to you more, or are you going to come from a different school of thought? What is your thought? What do you think the startup is?
So, startup as an entity, let me take it from this angle. When you get an idea on something, right, and that particular idea, your goal is to turn it into a business venture. It could be a product, right?
Mhm.
It could be services. Services as maybe doing cleaning service, going to people's home and delivering type of service. It could be a product as building an actual entity. We classify it as startup because whatever you are doing, you are beginning a process, and that process will involve either being it technical or non-technical. But in the meantime, your goal is to incubate it, start it, try to what do you call it? Make it like a newborn son or a newborn girl, and from that angle, you begin to refine that process, right? So the word startup involves technicality, but we have startups also which are more service based, which are not product based. So
Mhm.
startup can be a product, it can be a service, but the key thing that makes it different is that you are now turning that idea into something which is going to be more tangible. Tangible, I'm using the word tangible as if you have an idea to, let's say, do a delivery service, right? It's an idea, right?
Mhm.
But the moment you go in and trying to make it tangible, as in going to register the business, right? Getting some documentations in place, getting some business plan in place, all those angles, the moment you start moving the train of whatever you have in mind into reality, it becomes a startup. But we have stages in it. We have startups that are more incubation, that are more mind related assumptions and ideas, and then what do you call it? Categories of things that you are not ready. There are some people, they have the idea, they have just registered the business, they have maybe bought a domain of their website, they haven't done anything about it. They are still
Mhm.
in the incubation stage of their startup. And there are some people who have been doing it for about 6 months. Now they are telling people they have social media pages. They are also startups, right?
Starting up, yeah.
So we look at it from both technical and non-technical angle, that depending on whatever you want to do, depending on the stage you are in, your business can be considered a startup. But there are startups, of course, that's why we are here on this discussion today. There are startups that fail, who doesn't even pass their what do you call it, initial or initiation phase. There are startups that hit their initiation phase, they can't even grow into a full-blown business and all those things. So that's a little bit of my thoughts around that.
Okay. I love the different school of thoughts. It makes us see things from a different perspective. But before I move on to the next question, I think somebody dropped a comment asking, so do NGOs fall under these categories? We will answer this question. So, Veronica, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We will answer this question for you. But I have one follow-up question. So, Mr. Obeng, um, when you are a startup, do you necessarily have to bring in an exclusive idea to solve some kind of a problem which seems to not have a solution at all, or there is not enough solution to that problem?
The part I took, um, you complete school, you want to be independent, uh, you want to take charge of your life. And so you start. All right. And it's not defined, it's something that you are testing. So you try this, it does not work. You try this, it does not work. I think it depends on the expertise, the exposure, sometimes even financial ability of whoever is involved. If you take a typical graduate who has no connection, who has no mother, father, who wants to start something, uh, the former definition will be you have a concept, you write a business plan, you're looking for somebody to support you. All right. And I think a lot of our people are locked in that kind of thinking where they are hoping that somebody else will pick their concept and develop it. I think when you are thinking of business, you should understand where you are, the advantages that you have, and maybe the disadvantages that you have, so that you can pitch something that works. All right. And I think some of these, the English that we speak, the technical words that we use, uh, can choke our minds. And I am more of the results than just the discussions. So sometimes the terminologies, the way we look at things can lock a lot of our people. And so they follow an idea for 10 years and they still not be able to get one penny from it because of the way. So I would say that any idea, any need in your community that your friend who didn't go to school has been able to do and has been able to employ people or even employ himself. Look at those. It shouldn't be fanciful.
Okay.
It just has to solve a problem, in your community. Maybe you want to start to pick waste. Maybe you want to start a restaurant, or maybe you want to even go to Makola and pick secondhand clothes and repackage them and sell. You know, what you need is do people need what you want, or do people need what you're offering? Is there a need for it? Can they pay for it? For me, that is where it starts. And
Okay.
if you can meet a need, you have a business, and what you would want to
Okay.
call a startup.
All right. Okay. I will not waste much time. Over to you, Dr. Cash. So, does startup necessarily have to be like a problem-solving venture? Because the reason why I'm asking this question is that often enough people also see startups as SMEs or regard an SME as a startup. So what is the differentiation? What is the difference between a startup and an SME? Are you supposed to, or is the startup supposed to come in and solve a particular problem or help to solve or provide alternative to a particular, like challenge that consumers are already facing? Like you yourself as a founder of Top Up Hub, uh, which is like a Netflix, for Ghana. Um, your product is now, coming out in the market. So are you solving a particular, or is your startup solving a particular problem, for streaming purposes and alternative platform? Like, is startups or are startups meant to solve or be different in terms of providing, alternative? What is your thought?
So the goal of, I think, every business person or entrepreneur is to meet some needs either in their environment or what do you call it, a group of people, their needs, or to maybe create something for fun, right? Here in the US, I can tell you that some of the startups started in the form of not particularly solving a particular problem, but they started it as a fun. And one of these things is Facebook, right? Mark Zuckerberg didn't think about having what do you call it, a place where everybody will meet. Or what he thought was, hey, we are all at the university, we want to chill sometimes and hang out and know where people are. I mean, where maybe assuming we are three, we are four, 10, where we are. So let's just make something that we can chat on, right? So initially, the goal is to just connect with the friends and then have some fun. But then sit back and realize, this is being needed by not only the four of us here or the three of us here, it's being needed by about 20 people. And then it jumped to 30 people. It jumped to, oh, okay, then I can make a business out of it, right? Which also gets to the end goal of what you are doing. So most businesses you started with the vision of, if you are coming in like I'm trying to make a business and then solve a problem, that is great. But some people started as fun. There is one other person that I have attended their program before. She is a musician, right? She just loves to sing. All what she does was just do the singing in the church, and all what she is happy about is you inviting her to a program, and you give her the stage to sing. Whether you pay her or not, she is just happy to say, "Oh, we no na okoye we no akora we na otonyu." That's all the fun that she cares about. But here's the case: you go to a point and sat down and realize that no, my Monday is all booked. I have to practice with the team. From Thursday to Sunday, I'm all covered because my calendar is booked for people's event and I have to go and do stuff. So now it's no more for fun anymore. It's actual business. Now when you are coming to book my time, you have to pay me. And then now it has been a live band business where when you're having a program, you have to invite her and the team, and they charge you and they come in. They are working all year long now, hiring people, to be part of the team. So as I think Kwabena said, the goal is to solve a problem. Sometimes the goal may not come as a problem. Sometimes the goal may come in a form of entertainment. You are just having a fun
So
to
yeah,
do.
what you're saying is maybe in the beginning it's just for fun, like
Mhm.
Facebook started. Maybe okay, let me just try this, and then later on you identify a problem which your startup can also solve or help to solve, and
Right.
then it becomes also like a problem solving sort of
Hmm.
startup or helping to fill up the gap in that particular ecosystem for whatever demand and supply that is going on. All right. So thank you for your thoughts. And now we move to the main question of the day, the main topic of the day. Mr. Oben, did you want to say something?
No, I'm okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So we move to the main topic of the day. Why do startups fail? So viewers, if you are watching us, stay tuned. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to tag a friend. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, tell us where you are watching us from, and we promise you this is going to be very fun and interactive. So, why do startups fail? So, we talked about, we've defined startups, if what they are, if they are different from small businesses, uh, do they really need to solve problems or not? So now we are going to dive into the main topic of the day, which is why do what? Startups fail. So, Mr. Oben, over to you. Why do startups fail? Or in your opinion and experience, what you have seen so far in your journey, what would you say is one of the reasons why startups fail?
If your definition of a startup is where you're building a concept and you bring people on board and hopefully that business will grow to become a big business, then that's different. But if you are like me, your concept is very key. The kind of business that you want to go into is very key. How the cash flows in that business is also very key. Example, if somebody wants to start a business in Ghana and he says that I want to become a contractor, and he starts to chase a government contract, you know, you are on a path that you struggle. Why? Because if a government, even before the government gives you contract, some people will do some things before they give you the contract. And if you're unlucky, they will not even give you mobilization. You have to go to the bank and take a loan. And you may have to work for 3, 6, 7 months before they start to pay you. Now, if you're a young man and you go through this path, you are so likely to fail or you are likely to become a criminal. But if you start to sell, let's say, maybe you start a kelewele or Gary and beans business in an area that you have a lot of young men, you may not have to start with much. You may even just start with 1,000 cities. And because a lot of people would want to come and buy from you, they want that you open that business, you start to see money. I think most businesses struggle because they run out of money, and there's not much demand for it. And so if you don't position the business well, you're likely to fail. The other thing will be the kind of people that you start the business with. You had a friend who was just intelligent in school, and he said, "Let's team up and start a business." And business is tough. A lot of things will happen. Difficulties will come up. If that person is not built or has not built him or herself for this kind of pain, they will give up on you. And that will call for failure. Sometimes even government institutions, like in our country, can frustrate you, say that you give up on your dream. Sometimes even your family can talk you out of you pursuing a particular business. So the things that will call for failure, or business failure, maybe lack of clarity. The way you design the business, the kind of business that you started. The person, you as a person, what was your resolve? Were you determined to go through it no matter what? Or you were just testing, and if it doesn't work, you go and look for a job? So if you have not shifted your mind from just looking for salary and a good life, or going after this dream to say, I want to own a business, I want to own this company, and no matter what happens, I'm still going to stay at it until it works. That kind of mentality, if you have not developed it, you're likely to give up. And some of the businesses that we started that didn't work, some of these things came up. So bad team, bad design, concept, lack of cash flow, can easily make you give up, or can easily let the business fail.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your opinion. Thank you for all that you said. So, Dr. Kash, over to you. Why do you think startups fail?
Okay, Wisdom, I think your voice is a little bit far, so you can check your audio. But okay, so think about
Is
it
it
in
better
this
now?
way.
my voice better now?
Yeah, I think it looks like you were a little bit far away from your your audio. But to answer the question, why do startups fail, right? Think about it in this way. You want to give birth to a child, right? So, what do you want in the first place? Why do you want a child, right? Opeba, adena opeba, right? Okay. So, opeba, if you want a child, then are you prepared to, what do you call it, take responsibilities of that child, right? That's one. I'm using a child as personification here, right? Now, aside that, who do you want to have that child with? If that person you want to have that child with fails, are you available to take responsibility till that child becomes mature? That is how a business goes, right? Everybody have an idea. Not all ideas are business ideas. You have to distinguish between hobby and business ideas. Some hobbies, sometimes, as I said previously, can turn into a business idea. But if you want to go in full blown as a business person, you have to first understand what you want to do. Now, there are some things that we have to understand. Your first 1, 2, and 3 years in business, you are not going to make money. Okay. So, me using the child analogy again is that when you give birth to a child, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, that child is not going to give you anything. You are rather
Okay,
going to.
so yeah, this is very interesting. Sorry to interrupt you. I'll
Mhm.
I'll give you your moment. So, what you are saying is, if I hear you correctly, is that when you start up a business in the first, second, and third year, don't expect any profit or any income flow. Is this really what people should expect when they are starting up a business? Or this is coming from a place of personal advice? Before you continue,
Mhm.
Mr. Obin, what do you think about this statement? The first, second, and third year, don't they expect any kind of profit from your business? What do you think? Do you think this is feasible for a startup?
I am in Ghana. That's
Mm-hmm.
you see. So the definition of a startup is really very important. Even in Ghana, there is a session of Ghanaian young men like you,
Mm-hmm.
uh, whose understanding of business is incubation kind of business. Um, um, American kind of concept. But if you go to our market, if you go to Kokompe, if you go to your area, if what we are discussing involves them, then you know you have to really have to situate
Okay.
the kind of
Uh-huh.
the group that you're talking to.
Okay.
The group
Okay.
that you're talking to is key because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you will say that okay, if doctor is starting a business in Ghana, he probably will go to a very nice area, get an office. You know, uh,
Indefinitely.
he's educated. He will write. He will process a lot of things. A lot of things will be defined. But in Ghana, for instance, 80 or more percent of the people who start businesses may not even have to start with any capital base, if you want, in its strictest sense. He just has to survive. So he goes to the street and he start to sell on his head. There's no plan. But that person, 2, 3 years will come up and start a shop. And from the shop, he may open another shops. And he may never have
Interesting.
gone through that. So in terms of profitability, don't expect anything. I agree with him. You are going to go through a lot
Okay.
of difficulties.
Okay. Okay.
But
So over
money,
to you, Dr. Cash.
Sure. So, looking at things, right?
Mm-hmm.
If every business, every service you are providing have layers, right?
Mm-hmm.
If let's say you are selling, what do you call it, kenke, right? Now you have to first find who give you the mechanism, the maize, the corn, the whatever, right? So in every successful business starting, right, irrespective of where you are, your people, your source of the resource that will make your business survive sometimes comes very late. If you're fortunate, it comes very early. And sometimes it comes with a price. So let's do this. If someone is going to give you a best supply Molene, all those cons for you to do the kinky, right? You have to pay that person. Okay. So for the Bema Busumi if he gives you to you every month, you have to find a way to pay the person every month. So if you even have some money, you are now using that money to pay that other person because you want the kinky business to survive, right? So it's going to take a while. And don't forget, you are new in the market. You need customers. And so kinky no best one, how the baby feel, you bring it back home. Nobody, and unless you and your family eat it as a dinner, right? So the the whole concept of why business fails is that we all have been through that those thinking say, oh, may the buyer people will pay, people will patronize it. But the problem is this: you don't know that what you think people need may not really be what you are giving them. Okay, you may think that oh, people need kinky here, they do business. Maybe almost a hand, their construction folks, or their office related guys, they don't get time to go out and do lunch. So people may need that. But guess what? Maybe they need fried rice. Then you have already invested some resources, some money into the kinky side, right? So ideally, when some of us started some businesses and it didn't work out, we realized that no, we had to sit back and put it the concept in mind that even if people don't need it right now at this location, it's because those customers maybe are not there. A year time, 2 years time, that this place will not be the same. It's going to change. There are different kinds of people who come in there, and then now maybe my service may be needed, or even if it's the same people living there, now they'll see the need for me and my service. So therefore, if my target market is around this group of people, that's why I'm selling the kinky, then I have to be ready to survive myself until they understand what I'm trying to do. And it's going to take time, right? So most of these business experts that sometimes you listen to them, like Williams Buffett and all those Alibaba, those guys, they all tell you that look, your first year, second year to third year in the business, you have to survive. You have to survive by number one. Sometimes someone really need what you are providing, but your environment where you come from, right? The now Ghana ni adeɛ deɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ papa bi. That mindset is even a way for them to kill that business for you, right? So they are not going to patronize it. But here's the case: if you survive the first year, survive the second year, you are progressing and little bit. And once again, I want to repeat that you are not going to make the money you are looking for. Business be anywhere. Oh, sorry, anopa. Now, oko, and then you go about a year and whatever, and you think that business is going to be profitable now in such a way that to pay all your bills and your business bills. Well, I don't know that kind of business, but if you're really doing a business that your target market is this people that we are dealing with in this current generation, then it will take time. The reason why it will
Okay.
take time is that it will prepare you to acquire some people. And don't forget, there are fixed costs in businesses that you can't let go. So how do you pay for those things? It will better to work in your first 1 year, in your first, you haven't even broken even, right? But let's forget about the money a little bit. The reason why, and before I'll answer, you come in with your question. The reason why most businesses fail is because the plan of what we want to execute is different from what we are executing when we start a business. Deɛ ɛwɔ ne tiri mu sɛ ankɔpɛ sɛ ɔyɛ no, business no hyɛ aseɛ a ɛnyɛ saa de no na otu ho anammɔn. And then it changed what you are going to do. So some people get diverted the moment they get in because ɔde ne tiri kɔhyɛ mu pɛ a sɛ koko mpe hɔ koraa na sɛ nneɛma no wokɔ a ɛyɛ den sɛ wobɛnya materials no. Ɛneɛ sɛ nneɛma ɛbɔ ka o. Ne ma menda ne m'anim mempɛ menkɔ abɔso ɔkan nkɔpɛ spare parts bi a anaasɛ menyae koraa na mempɛ yɛka ne sɛ apɛtɛhye bi aba bi adeɛ boys no mbi nti no na the goal, you are not staying focused. But if you're going to stay focused, it's going to be difficult. But at the end of the day, when you hit, we know we can talk about Amazon, we can talk about Facebook. As a matter of fact, Mark Zuckerberg namu ni nua kora in the third to fourth year, no, he has to go and borrow money from Ninia Bar because even the sister thought, now it doesn't make sense, right? But here we are now. We can talk about Alibaba. We can talk about so many people that Tesla and Elon Musk and all those guys. So your concept has to match what you are going to do. If that is your goal and you stay focused, you will survive. If that is not it, that's a try BFA and you are going to test whether it will be profitable, then don't go because you are going to fail.
Okay, sorry to interject you, but for the sake of time, am I audible enough? Is my mic okay now?
It came back and now it's a little bit. I can hear you. I think Mr. Bean can also
Okay,
hear you, but
can you hear me? Is my mic
uh,
audible enough? Yeah, okay. So I've as an entrepreneur myself, I am looking to learn from two experienced gurus who are successful in multiple startups and multiple ventures. So, audience, you've heard it from Mr. Obin, you've heard it from Dr. Lolita. When you're starting up a business in the first year, second year, third year, don't expect any return. If you disagree, let us know why you disagree in the comment section. Don't forget to tag your friends, like, share, and invite people to watch this video. For the sake of time, I would like to quickly ask a few questions. But before I go ahead, as an entrepreneur myself,
Wisdom, I think you are fading out, probably. So,
probably
check.
it's my headset. Let me try to turn it off. Okay. So, is it okay now?
Good.
Yes. So as an entrepreneur myself, definitely I'm looking to always expand my knowledge. I don't want to fail because the topic of discussion is why do startups or why startups would fail. And there are multiple reasons which Mr. Obin has mentioned. Doc, you've also mentioned it could be the wrong place, wrong timing, the income flow. Um, Government policies could also contribute to failures in startups. But I have one question. Do you think that partnerships also can contribute to the failure of startups? Because, as an entrepreneur, because usually you don't have, as much resources to propel you, to the next stage. It could be to even meet people with connections, people who can introduce you, even to push your brand in the market. But you try to partner with other entrepreneurs, other like smaller agencies or big agencies, to push your brand. Do you think partnership also could play a role, or like a bad partnership could play a role in any kind of way to make a startup fail? What do you think, Mr. Obing?
Yes. I think if the concept is working and is needed, the next thing will be the kind of people that you work with. If they are very good, you will go through. If they are wrong people, you will struggle. And every team, every dream requires a team. But the experience, the exposure, the character, the resilience of the team is very key. So some people will go through a lot of phases, and the business starts to work, and they start to fight. you know they start to bring maybe their sister in, their brothers in. Their brother will say that, oh, so
So
that for
wait,
that.
are you trying to say families cannot be involved in startups, friends cannot be involved in
No, I'm not
startups.
saying that. I'm saying that
Okay.
you and your friend, you started business. You went through a lot of problems, and now the business starts to work. And then your friend sister will see. If you buy a new shoe, So the team is key. If you're able to uh, pick the right people, I think is one of the best elements for the business to work. If you don't have the right people, then I would suggest that maybe in the first 2, 3, 4, 5 years you go alone. Just depend on some people to help you. But if you're going to form partnership, as in ownership, people must have some level of maturity, some level of expertise. Because really, why the business failed was because you were not up to it. There is a development process for you as an entrepreneur. It has to get to a stage where your decisions are right. Your decisions on the market, on the customers, on the money, on the product, everything is right. Then the business starts to make sense. The business starts to work. Because you are evolving, you are going to make a lot of errors. And that is what most of it will bring the failure, which means that if you have somebody who will cover up in terms of some of the errors that you carry, then you have a better decision making machine, and that will position the business to work. So the kind of people that you bring on board, either partners or employees, will make the business work or will make the business fail. And most people, the business will fail because of the kind of mindset that the people have in terms of let's come together and work, or we come together and fight. Most of our people will come together, and instead of them to focus on the dream, they are rather fighting, and then the dream will fail.
Okay, Dr. Cash, over to you.
Okay, so it's good to have partners, as Mr. Ben said, right? My advice, and you said something about family members and stuff. Look, if you want to build a good business, don't involve family members. Okay? Let the business get to a point where it can live without even someone else pushing money in it, and then family members hire them as employees, not partners. Okay. So sometimes I sit back and when I see people making their case, oh, Miniwa is the managing director, I laugh. Yeah, I bet you can look out there for all these Jeff Bezos and those guys. They don't put their case as the leaders of the business because when you were struggling to make that business work, that family member didn't know it. But now that it's profitable, they want to. And when they get to that stage where the business is profitable, all what they care about is the consumption. They are not thinking about the growth. So one thing that I always tell myself is this: I would rather ask for what my family member want to do or my son wants to do, and then give him or her the startup incentives, whether connections, whether resources, for him to go and build whatever he wants to build, or services or business he wants to do. If he is able to make that business work, then he qualifies to be part in my team. That means that person have that fighting spirit to come and sustain that hard work that you have done. Other than that, they will come and all what they will care about is Adiame Papa Kradia, me wafadia. And they become all they think about being bossy. And then at the end of the day, they will mess it up. Because those people you built, you thought to build this with, those people are going to realize that no, you know what, we can't do this anymore, and they will all be quitting. So to answer your question, do you need partnership? Yes, but if you are starting a business, go on that journey alone. Do your best to go on that journey alone to learn the process. Okay, I'm telling you this because in Lollycash, there are so many things that I have learned through the fintech world that if I had a partnership, I wouldn't have learned that because maybe the partner know all those things, so he'll just be telling you, "Oh, yamfa ha yamfa." But don't forget, it's a partnership, so the person can go, the person can stay, the person can branch off, do their own thing. But if you are starting a business, so be to me, and the condition here is so be to me, go on that road alone, at least for your first 1 year, your first 1.5 years. Learn your product and your service like anything. Anywhere new, everybody will ask you to talk about it. You know what to do. Look for the loopholes on things that ways and means that you can, what do you call it? You can go on and then do what you need to do here, right? Then you need someone to tag on with. In this world, everybody needs someone, right? Even the creator himself needed us and we needed him. So you need someone along the way. But what I'm suggesting is if you are starting a business, go alone. Because it's only you who understand where you are going. Your partner, some of us have partnered with some people before, and then when you being the main person who started the whole thing, you're investing resource and energy in, it's $100 better more. As I know they are bro. My am 500 no be pay lunch be. But in your mindset, this is not even a money that we should even touch. But I'm so your partner no. What can we be one boys nama for no more years, right? So you run the journey alone and we go to a point, some people will tag on and then you tag on. By that time number target on, you are assigning them responsibility. See, when you are starting a new business and you add maybe wisdom or Mr. Being on, you both are sharing responsibilities and you are going to be selling out your equity, right? But if you hold on, build what you want to build and sustain it to 1 year, whatever, and Mr. Bin, you approach Mr. Bin, or Mr. Bin approaches you, and then wants to have some portion of your business. Now, Mr. Bin has to pay it with price. Either so describe by shame, or then the connections by shame, and then you assign that person responsibility. It people thinking, oh, I can't do it myself unless I tag someone on. Well, could be true, but have you assessed your capability? And then so partnership is good. I'm not saying it's bad, but for a startup, just go solo or hire people. And you look at Bobo Siakra hire nipa no. Na se nipa no nim say at the end of the month you are paying him or her as an employee. It's fine. Don't run as quick as you want to sell the equity in your business because the bedroom pempens will be no. 1% of your business will worth more than $1 million, and then you have given about 50% to that person that nobody. And since you were new, you were playing around trying to see if the business will work or not, much 50-50. And because you shared 50-50, now you can't like on the own type of thing. But when you grow it, you know the pain you've been through, you know you've learned the market in the hard way. Nipa no approach you, or you tell the person, you know what, I'm looking for $1 million for 20%. Because Nipa no himself, with or without him, you are still going to make the business work. That's it. So my advice is starting a business, just dedicate and focus and try as much as you can, what do you call it, to make it work. So that is a little bit I would say around the partnership.
Okay. I've heard the interesting things that both of you have said. So, um, Dr. Kash, you just mentioned if you want to go, what you go alone. So, right now, I am going somewhere alone where I can easily try to hear you guys because I'm still in the office and there is a lot of activities going on. So the noise is a little bit irritating. Um, Mr. Obin, earlier on you mentioned that usually you don't involve family and friends. When I asked that question about what do you think about family and friends, and somebody would probably say that there are a lot of family businesses out there. There are a lot of families that create generational businesses, but they still have to start with family, in order to retain or sustain these businesses. you know Back then it would have still been considered a startup, but we are all talking about creating generational wealth for our children and all of that. And if we cannot put our families as CEOs, MDs, directors, then what is the purpose of building these businesses to last for them? Do you have anything to counter this sort of argument?
I think the I think it's more of the training also, and the culture. There are a lot of bitter experiences where people bring family people in their businesses, and all kind of things happen. But I think it's more of the culture, it's more of the training to
Very
get what you
interesting.
want. you know. So if you start to do that with the intention that I want my children to be part, then they have to go through it as as employees. I mean, they see you work. So if before you even give them anything significant in the business, they should prove that they can handle that. They have the strength. So maybe if you have more than one, then maybe one of them will show that kind of tendencies. But I agree with them. I agree with Doctor that if you are going to keep them there, they have to prove that
So
they,
yes, they need
they
to prove that they merit that position, not just come and
that's right. They
waste
have to, yeah,
decades of sweat and ups and downs, and in 2 3 months the business is collapsed after you are no longer okay. This is very interesting.
yeah.
All right. So earlier on, we had a lady who dropped a comment asking if NGOs fall under startup categories. I hope she's still with us and she's still watching. She also later mentioned that NGOs are considered, non-profit kind of businesses. So, do you think that they could be considered also as a startup, or maybe a sort of category of startup? Dr. Cash, I will start with you on this one.
Yes, so NGOs are all businesses. The only difference is that they are not for profit, right? And there are people who are doing charity work, but they are still registered businesses. So the fact that you are in a business that indirectly you are not in with the goal of making money for yourself, you are still a business. For example, you were a church. If you started a church 6 months ago or 3 months ago, you are still an NGO, or you help the orphanage. You are still a business. Just that your goal is not to make money for yourself. So you will still be considered as a startup, irrespective of whether you are making money or not. So yes, you to answer the question, yes, you are considered as such.
Startup. Okay. Mr. Oben, what is your thought on this?
NGOs. Anyway, they they call some people social entrepreneurs and all that. Yes, maybe they qualify as startups if you want. If you want, uh, I
Not
hardly
for me,
use
for the
those terms
viewers,
as
who want answers, who wants to know if clearly or not, if they
I didn't
fall or might be considered.
I didn't hear that.
No, I mean, the viewers, of course, the lady who dropped the comment, I believe she wants like a definite answer that yes or no, it's here or not. Yeah. So she said,
I
I am asking. So
um,
sorry, one minute. She said, I am asking because they are usually considered as non-profit and aren't business. So yeah, you can go ahead.
yes, they're non-profit and not but if you go to register it, I mean, you're supposed to run everything as a business. The only thing is that when you're filing those taxes, it will be different, than somebody who is strictly making profit. And so you can't run an NGO as non-business. You really have to run. You really have to do things as accurate as any other.
So
But for me,
legally,
one of the things.
yeah, go ahead, continue,
Say
go
it
ahead.
again. So for me, if you look at most of our graduates, educated people, the people who speak English, a lot of the terms and a lot of the cultures conflict. All right. So, for instance, if you go to school, a lot of the things that they teach us, and you come to our environment and you really want to run something, you see that most of your mates will find it difficult to pick a business and run. And yet, those that you left at the JSSSS level are fighting because the culture and the government setting, the financial setting in our economy, and the kind of terms and the things that they taught us in school, I think they don't meet. So you are better off to pick these teachings and go to, say, Singapore or America and try to fit, and it may work faster. Instead of us to lift and build something that works for us, we try to hang it on our neck. For instance, our government institutions think like that. So even if you look at our taxes and everything, we are trying to copy England. And yet the culture, the majority of the people that run businesses don't understand a lot of these settings. So they constrict, we are cut off from growing or even starting businesses because we have not been able to build systems, structures, institutions with what we have. You build with the content of what you have. And so when we are talking like these terminologies, majority of the people who follow this kind of approach find it difficult to build proper businesses. So you see that even our retailers, major retailers are not Ghanaians. If you come major developers, construction companies, finance companies, they're not Ghanaians. Why? Because there is a separation. So we have to find a way to define things for ourselves and to make sure that we build protocols that are really with us in mind. So I try to I'm trying to see, so does this make sense? Can we work with this? These definitions, can we work with this? For instance, if we come to property, we are in property development. If I meet anybody who is in property development in, say, England, and he comes, the terms they use, the approach, the mortgage, and the funding, if you use that here, it won't work. You may not have access to that. And even if they give you funding here, it may be 30%. Now, if you want to develop apartment and somebody gives you 30%, you are going to commit suicide. But in their environment, have things that fit there. So I'm trying to say that at what point are we able to define things in our own terms so that we can, and even examples, our own examples that fit, because that way we'll be able to get a lot of the young minds to build businesses, because then they will be close to reality. They will have defined things in their mind, because the things that we have gone through, if we look at the examples, the global examples, you may not be able to fit here.
Interesting.
But if you look at if you look at the examples here, then maybe you can build it to a certain point before you start to look at the global examples. And a lot of times when you meet young boys and they are talking, I can see that you will not win, you will fail, because your mind is so far from the reality.
From reality. Okay. Thank you for that contribution. It's quite interesting that you mentioned that we need to define terms that are realistic in nature, which is also in line with our culture, our way of thinking, and how we perceive things. If we really want to progress in the startup economy back home in Africa. So, viewers, if you joined us late, the topic of today is why do startups fail? Businesses that are starting up, or the ones that are already existing, maybe a year old, few months old, 2 or 3, 4, even 5 years old, why do they fail all of a sudden? This is what we have been talking about, and we've shared very educating insights, things about bad partnerships involving family and friends when they are not supposed to and when they didn't merit it, lack of funding, um, lack of ideas, lack of passion, you know, no self motivation. These are some of the things that I believe contribute to failures in startups. So we would love to continue this conversation and go on and on and on. As an entrepreneur, I am always, open to learn. In as much as I am anchoring this show right now, I still would learn a lot more because the two gentlemen I have here on this show are way much more experienced than I am. So I don't consider myself as knowledgeable enough. So like this video, share this video, tag a friend. If you have any questions relating to startups, if you want us to treat any topics about startups, don't forget to indicate in the comment section. Whatever your question is, whatever topic you want clarity on, indicate in the comment section. Tag a friend, share, like, and also don't forget when you are using Tap Tap Send to send money back to Ghana, use the Alma Manson code. Okay? Don't forget, viewers. So, Dr. Cash, is there any suggestion? Is there any last comment? What would be your take, your wrap up take, to individuals, to young entrepreneurs, who are coming up either in Africa, either in the Caribbean, because we are the same. What would be your takeaway or take home advice to entrepreneurs who are, in the early stages of startups?
Okay, so what I would say is that when you are beginning to change a concept from the way it is to
Mhm.
something that you will call a business, just understand that the same way you give birth to a child, and it takes time for that child to grow and become beneficial to you. That's how business is. There are
Mhm.
instances people are lucky enough, they meet some good people and things turn around quicker for them. But if you like go to the world, from the richest, the first 20 or 10 richest people in the world who have built businesses that make decision for the world, most of them started making their business resourceful in after 3 years or 5 years or whatever it is. I know that if maybe some later time when we are discussing about this generational wealth, it's not necessarily about business. You can build a generational wealth for your family without having them to be part of the business. So if you're a startup, know what you want to do, stay focused in it. Okay. Instances are going to swing you away very easily. And I'm saying this not from reading from someone who have written it. I'm saying this because to sustain three businesses and hire people in it and still keep it to work, I know what I'm talking about. So things are going to move you away. Things are going to frustrate you. Your own circle, the own people, the own target market people, especially if you are in even Ghana is worse. They are going to help you kill the business. Okay. Their comments, the things they will write about your business. Someone can even sit and go and write a bad post about you just because of something that probably doesn't even make sense. And some people can even report you once they are doing things wrong and it doesn't go with your business policy. So be ready to stand with that because before any flight will land from the sky, every flight goes through the storm, which is the clouds, right? Some of the clouds can be turbulence, but it's like plane no for money. Some of them too can shake the plane. A bit wasn't, but eventually, the plane lands. That's how business is. And you are not on funny easy. You are not going. I'm not going to sugarcoat for you to think, say, oh, way and I are successful, you know. Look, if you are successful, great, but you are going to face it. And last thing is, do not think you are going to make money overnight if you are building a good business.
Somebody just asked in the comment section again, are there instances where startups can make returns between the first and second year?
I have seen a startup business who made returns on their first, what do you call it, POV testing. Like what I mean by that is they group their market things that they are bringing out to the market as a test, right? Like let's pick some small sample and go here, and it could be ice cream business, right? Let's pick some small sample, we go here, and then try to test if people will buy. And guess what? Within the 6 months, oh wow, there's a high demand on that. Or 1 year, they break even. But the point is that the probability of you breaking even in your first year and second year, even to make returns, depends on what you are doing, which is the business. And then there's a less chance for it. I'm not saying you cannot make it. You can, but there's less chance for it. The reason why there's less chance for it is because you are still figuring out the business. And even at that moment, most of the money you are going to put it back to
Into the
restock
business.
the business resources. Nti no ɛnkɔ nkɔyɛ sɛ wowɔ even a stock at your warehouse and I say all the products na wobɛtumi de ayɛ deɛ ɔreyɛ no. So yes, some people do, but the higher chances of people not making anything is more than those who make it. But that doesn't mean you are one year business in a year or anything. That is still okay because at the end of the day, and once again, business is like giving birth to someone. You have to take time to let the person pick up. But when the person finish picking up, returns comes very, very quick. But beginning now, Bemani Pana pick it up in the yasam. So just have it in that mindset and prepare yourself for it. And obviously, it's going to be fine. But here's the case: if you think that you want to, there's no quick money anywhere. Obi anywhere Bema free money. Obi anywhere Bema quick money. If that is your mindset, say me common term, na me dia baby years. And yeah, look, I'm just being honest with you. Unless you want to go the other type of business, which is
No, 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 no,
the
no,
goal
no.
of this platform. But if you are going the rightful way, things are not going to be easy for you. Even if things are easy, some people are going to mess you up. They intentionally are going to mess you up. So you have to prepare your mind psychologically, your body to emotionally consume it. Adebayo Amire for your man can say some people fail in business because of emotion, right?
Okay. Yes. Dr. Cash, before we go, because of time, kindly tell us about yourself, what you do again. Maybe some viewers came in late. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do in 2 minutes, and then we'll move on to Mr. Obey. And then, yes, tell us about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Eric. It's easy, Eric Pope. You can easily find me on the social media stuff, especially for Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff. And I'm among the team that built Lollycash, which Lollycash becomes a wallet platform. So it helps you send and receive money. Okay, so without the need for mobile money, right? We have to find a way to rely on an independent technology aside telcos. So that is what Lollycash does, and it's the only app that makes it possible for you to do a reverse transfer, right? When you're doing business in Ghana, you need to buy parts in America. That it doesn't make sense for you to go and wait on Sunday for the bank to 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 open before you send money. There should be a way for you to transact your money. So that is Lolly Cash part, and it's pretty new, but the demand on the platform is crazy, right? And on top of that, too, we have Top Hub. Top Hub has been in business for 1.5, almost 2 years now, And all what we do is we provide service for movie industry. So not only Ghanaians, um, and yes, to answer your question, Lolly Cash is on App Store, is on Play Store as well. You can have it on your computer the same way as Top Hub. Top Hub also you can do that, but Top Hub is mainly for watching content. So assuming the three of us wants to watch one movie together, the top up provide you with what do you call it, a movie section where I will start the movie, send the link to Mr. Obin, send it to Wisdom, and then we all at the same time will watch the same movie at the same time but different locations. So we are all watching the same content with different places, and we have over 150 movies on it with over 80,000 people on the platform. Okay, so that is what we do. We are into technology and entrepreneurship, but we wish people well for 2023 that their business ventures will go well. But please do not think it's going to turn out overnight for you to make millions overnight. Yes, if it does that, great. But from what I know, it will take time. So be ready to be patient. Uh, the same way you did not jump from your mom's womb and 6 months we started eating everything. That's how business is. It takes time and be ready to be patient and build and stay focused.
All right. Thank you very much, Eric Pope. Mr. Obin, over to you in 5 minutes before we wrap up. Tell us about yourself, what you do, and your last take on what you think people or young people who are into startups, even old people who are starting up, what is your take? What is your advice to them in order not to fail in 5 minutes?
Okay, in order not to fail, you will fail and be ready for it. If you don't want to fail, don't start to
I like
become a
that.
millionaire.
Yeah.
You are going to go through a lot of problems and challenges. It's because you are evolving, you are developing, just like a child walking, you will learn. So if you don't want to fail and you're perfect, then go and become, some an environment where you don't have to fail, but you will still. But if you want to build a business, it's not that nice. You go through a lot, and so you have to be ready for it and give yourself at least 10 years to become giant in anything that you're doing. A chance if you're able to succeed before that, fantastic, but it takes a while, and you have to aim for the big figures. And so, and it matters what industry you go in. And if you have no support, nobody, then don't go into product-based businesses where you have to take time to develop the product before you take it to the market. If you have no support, nothing, don't go there. Go to the places where somebody has developed a product and you go to the market to sell. I am for that. Before, after a while, you gather money and go into production if you want. But if you have no support, nothing, go and sell something that you get money. It's a business. And for me, it's the easiest way, especially if you're in our country. And don't go and take somebody's loan to start a business at 30% a year. Start little with what you have and grow with it. You can be very ambitious, but start little. Don't go and take somebody's 100,000 at 30% and say, I want to open a very big shop, go and rent, and you have never sold. It will be a problem. It took a while for us to get to wherever that we think we are. So I would say that be tough-minded, be ready, and don't look for magic and miracles. Be ready for it. Use your mind. Use your mind to solve problems and reduce superstition and reduce complaining. Yeah, the government has done this, government has done that. No, be somebody who wants to win. And a winner's mindset is different from a loser. The loser is waiting for somebody to help them. Winner is enough to go and fight. And they are not crying. They are not waiting that in Ghana nothing works. Don't talk like that. If you talk like that, you will not succeed. There's a certain level of thinking that you have to be for you to work. And if you meet challenges, don't panic. Be there and solve them. If you can't solve them today, or if you don't solve them today, tomorrow go and try again. But be a person who is resolved to win. And business is not for the weak-minded. So that's what I would say. I am an entrepreneur, I'm an author. I have 3 books. One of it is Resilience. It's actually how to build the mindset, the courage and strength to start a business. It takes a lot because your friends are going to look for government work. I have perspective. Is develop the mindset to build your business. And this is about financial information. If your financial knowledge is not right, you will mess up. And most of us went to school without any financial knowledge. So once the money starts to come, you want to go and buy a land, you want to change your iPhone, you want to change and meanwhile, the business needs a lot of money to grow. So you focus on growing the business to a stage where if you take something from it, it will still survive, And for us, our environment is entirely different from what you see in the movies and what you see in the books. Ghana's environment is different, and you really have to learn it by yourself. If you just copy and paste it here, you will crash and you run away. The culture is different, the workers are different, the government structure is different. Our government institutions are not built to promote businesses and innovation. They are built, we have not built any system that promotes businesses, and especially local businesses. We just have a system that is there, we are passionate, but nobody's there ready to help you to grow. So you must have that kind of thinking, that this is the environment. And at the same time, our environment is the best to start any business because the regulations are not so much cantankerous, But you're going to go through a lot of difficulties to grow that business, even though it is very easy for you to start. The growth stage takes a lot of strength. So it's a whole different kind of education, and never be afraid to fail and fall. If you owe somebody, when they call you, pick. Don't cut the phone.
I personally, I will not pick if I owe you, Mr. Obi. If you call me, I'll just turn my phone upside down and put it on silent. But by the way,
That's no
where
good.
can we find your book to buy? Is it on Amazon? Is it in a bookstore?
Yes.
Is
So
there an
my
audio
books are
version
on
of it?
Amazon. They are on Amazon. So Kindle version is there, and the other copy is there. In Ghana, you can get them from our shops in the malls. So MV is our shop. You go to Accra Mall, Achimota Mall, you can get copies there as well.
Is there? Can we get some in Makola or somewhere, KJTR or any other places?
On that one, you have to call us for us to send it to you. And we have a YouTube channel.
Media handles? Okay, good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we have Facebook, Obendako. We share some of these things because our young people need this. A lot of our young people think that it's impossible to be successful in Ghana. A lot of them are even waiting for capital, and nobody will give you any capital. So if you have iPhone, which is 1,005, and you're waiting for capital, you're sleeping. If you're waiting for a government job, IMF is telling them not to employ anybody this year. So start to do something for yourself. You may want to travel, but that is not the solution. The solution is you having a dream for yourself to say that I want to stay with this, and becoming the person who can realize that dream. And be much optimistic and positive about our continent. The negativity is too much.
Okay, this I agree with you. As a Pan-African myself, I believe so much in the African continent. I believe we have the talent, we have the resources, both human and natural resources, to be the best, to change the entire world dynamics and financial structure and economics any day. I believe that we can do it, and I like the fact that you mentioned that we need to change that mindset of negativity to more of positivity. Strike a balance, at least. Nobody is perfect. We can't be all negative, neither can we be all positive. But we need to strike a reasonable balance in order to succeed and move to the next stage if we want to make it as entrepreneurs. Thank you guys for being the show. Viewers, you've heard it all from Mr. Obin, who is an entrepreneur himself. He's into pretty much almost everything: property development, he's an author, retail, fashion, process engineering, construction, name it. You can find his books in Accra Mall, Achimota Mall. Check his YouTube, Obin Dakun, Facebook. Also, Dr. Cash is there. If you doubt, just go on Play Store right now after this show, or go on Apple Store and try to download the app, Top App. And trust me, you will enjoy it. I can't imagine even being here and watching video or a movie with my mother in the village, or my brother in a different city. It's not just about the film or the movie, but also it connects family unity, friends. It still creates some bond. It's not just about what is happening on the screen. Even though the people might not be close to you, but they somehow feel your presence, through the technology. If I am not wrong, this is better than Netflix, as far as I am concerned. I mean, You should. This is probably one of the biggest innovation of our time right now in the streaming industry, because even the big guys haven't done it, even though they have all the resources, but they still haven't even done it. And here is our brother who has conquered that negativity mindset, to build something which doesn't just unite and connect us, but also give us some form of enjoyment and fun. So thank you, viewers, for watching. Thank you for joining in the Amma Manson show. Don't forget to use the code when you're sending money on Send. Follow Mr. Obeng, follow Dr. Cash, myself. Click, like, comment on this show, tag a friend who needs to see this, who wasn't here. So the topic we treated today is why startups fail. So in the coming weeks, we are going to treat more interesting topics about startups. So, just a disclaimer, we are not dwelling on what the failures. Guess what? More positive contents about what startups, how you can make it, how to navigate your path, how to go through alone, how to go through in groups. Let me pause for now. Thank you, viewers. Thank you for coming, and see you next week.
Thank you.